Hey everyone, welcome to my channel English for All Reasons Good. Today we are going to do reported speech, interrogative sentences, rules decoded. So let's begin. Now, first of all, the terms that I will be using. I'll be using reported verb, reporting speech, reported speech. So what is reporting verb, reporting speech and reported speech? Now this sentence is going to make it more clear. So let's read the sentence first. Rahul said to Renu, I am hungry. Now, in this sentence, Rahul said to Renu, this part is known as reporting speech, and I am hungry is reported speech. So, in this part, the first part that is reporting speech, said is called the reporting verb, and I will be, wherever I'll be mentioning reporting verb, I'll be writing it as RV. Rahul, of course, is the subject, Renu is the object. Now, the second part that is reported speech, this is the direct reported speech. And of course, am here, it is the reported verb. So, this is reporting verb and here this will be reported verb. So, you have to take care of these terms. Now next, chart for change of pronouns and determinants. Now since I am taking interrogative sentences, exclusively I'll be dealing with interrogative sentences. I am assuming that you are all aware of these basic changes. So change of pronouns and determinants, I have given the chart here, but I am not reading the whole chart. If you find that you need to refer to this chart, so you can always come back and refer to this chart. Then changes in time, expressions of time and place. So this is also the basic thing, and I assume that you already know this. Some other changes. Again, now changes into then, here into there. So these are again the basic changes. Now this is important because this is where students go wrong. Now if the RV, so as I said, RV is the reporting verb, is in past tense, the tense of the verb in the reported speech is changed into the corresponding past tense. So this you have to take care. So if it is V1, that is the reporting verb is in present tense, then it changes into past tense. It's simple present, so it changes into simple past. It becomes V2. V2 changes into had plus V3. Is MR changes into was were changes into had been, has have changes into had remains had, there's no change, will changes into would, can into could, shall into should. Then would and could, no change, should again should, remains should, or it becomes would, as the case may be. May changes into might again, there's no change. Must, it can remain must, or it changes into had to. Do and does, obviously they change into did, and did into had, or the had gone and had done form according to the sentence. Now the rules for interrogative sentences. These are important, and interrogative sentences are most confusing for the students. So that is why I'm taking this first. Now, if the reported verb say or said, it is changed into ask or asked or inquire or inquired. So if the reported verb that is say or it is said, then accordingly it will be changed into ask or inquire if it is say, and if it is said, it will be changed into asked or inquired. Now, conjunction that is not used in when you are changing the direct form of interrogative sentence into an indirect form. So remember, you are not to use that. Then in indirect speech, inverted commas and question mark, obviously they are not used. The interrogative form of the verb changes into an assertive form. That means we are changing the question into an assertive statement. So no question mark is required and no inverted commas are required. If the reported speech starts with auxiliary verbs, then we have to use if or whether. So remember this. Now, what are auxiliary verbs? I'll be discussing it later. Now, if the reported speech starts with question words, so what are the question words? Like WH words, who, when, where, why, and how, then leave them as such. So you have to retain the question word. Now, reporting verb said, it is changed into asked, demanded, questioned, inquired. So I've already done this. Now, while changing from direct to indirect, subject comes first and verb comes afterwards. This is the second thing that students confuse with. So, the basic structure of a question is auxiliary verb plus subject plus main verb. But when we convert it into a simple assertive statement, then the structure, it has to be subject plus verb plus object, because this is the structure of a simple assertive sentence. So the structure of a question, it is auxiliary verb plus subject plus main verb, whereas when we change it, the structure changes. It becomes subject plus verb plus object. So you need to remember this. I'll show you this in the example. But first, auxiliary verbs. So auxiliary verbs can be primary auxiliaries or they can be modal auxiliaries. So primary auxiliaries to be form like is, am, are, was, were, or to do form like do, does, did, to have form that is have, has, had. And modal auxiliaries, obviously they are can, could, will, would, shall, should, may, might, must, need, or dare. So if the question is beginning with any of these auxiliaries, then we have to use if or whether. So as I have discussed this rule earlier also. So this is the question now. This is where I'll be using all these rules. So we have the question. He said to me, "Have you brought my pen?" So here now, first we are highlighting all the things that we need to change. So first, this is the reporting verb, sorry. So this will change. Then the auxiliary here, the subject here. Now here again, we have my, the pronouns. So these will change according to the pronoun, the rule of change of pronouns. So he, then said to will change into asked. Now here, since it is beginning with an auxiliary, we have to use if or whether. We can use any out of the two. Now here, the subject, as I said, subject will come first. So the places, they are interchanged. So subject comes first and this auxiliary verb, it comes afterwards. And then you have to change according to the rules of change of pronouns. So here I have given the chart for change of pronouns. So in case you need to refer to it, you can. And there's a rule also, rule of change of pronoun called son. So this I'll be discussing in another video. But if you want to refer to it, you can check from here. So have you brought my pen? So again, this my, it will change according to rule of the change of pronouns. So here we can see you, it will change into I, he, she, we, or they. So here it is me. So that means you changes into I. Then my has to change into his or her. So obviously it will become, because here it is he, so my becomes his. So this rule, it is 1, 2, 3 and SON. This means first person, this means second person, and this means third person. So first person, it changes according to the subject, second person, it changes according to the object, and there is no change in the third person. So here, when we have you is second person and it has to change according to the object. So me is the object. So that is why you has changed into I. Now here my is first person and it has to change according to the subject, and he is the subject and therefore it has changed into his. So I have discussed the rule of change of pronouns. So in case you were not aware of it, so now you are. Now next, sorry, I did not do the answer. So our answer, it becomes he asked me if I had brought his pen. So all the rules, they have been applied. I'm not using inverted commas, I'm not using the question mark. So instead a full stop or a period is there. So the sentence has been converted into indirect form. Now another rule, ask can be followed by a person addressed, that is the indirect object. For example, he said to me, "What have you got in your bag?" Now here, said to me. So this is the indirect object. So we use asked when this object is given. So he asked me what I had got in my bag, the rest of the changes. But if we want to use the word inquire or wonder or want to know, so then we cannot use indirect object there. So these words, they do not take indirect object. So this is again very important because students don't know this and they are writing the object with these words also. So if we wish to report a question where a person addressed is mentioned, then we must use ask. Ask or asked, whatever is the form. Now, another example. Suppose the question is, he said, Mary, when is the next train? So he asked Mary, because here again the object is given. So he asked Mary when the next train was. But if we want to use inquire, wondered, or wanted to know or inquired, because this is past tense here, so we must omit Mary. Then the sentence, it should be, he inquired when the next train was. We should not be using the object here. Now, next example. She said to her, will you like to buy a chocolate? So the answer becomes, the indirect form becomes, she asked her if she would like to buy a chocolate. Now again, because it is starting with an auxiliary verb, we are using if. So here said to becomes asked. And again, you. So the subject comes first here and verb comes afterwards. So if she would like to buy a chocolate. Now here like. Would, it will always take the first form of the verb. So that is why this is not liked. So would like to buy a chocolate. Next, she said to the postman, are there any letters for me? So she asked the postman if any letters were there for her. So any letters, this is the subject here. So it has come first. So any letters are changes into were. So it is here, were there for her. So change of pronouns. I hope it is clear now. Now the confusing part. Most confusing part is here. So let's solve it. I said to him, do you want to become a doctor? Now this do thing, whether to use it or whether to leave it, this is confusing. So understand the idea behind it. Now it says, I asked if he wanted to become a doctor. So where has this do gone? In the rules it say do has to change into did. But we are not using did here. So the rule, it says when reporting questions begin with auxiliary verb do or does, we don't use do or does in the indirect form except in negative questions. So this is the rule, remember this, because students, they get confused that in some sentences do is used and in others it is not. So this is the difference. It is not used in sentences that are affirmative, but it is used in sentences that are negative. Here is the example. My mother said to me, why don't you buy a new frock? So here don't, this is negative. So my mother asked me why I didn't buy a new frock. So here do has changed into did. So I hope this is clear now. So remember this rule. John said to his friend, did you not go to your office today? So here the answer is, John asked his friend if he had not gone to his office that day. Now here the rule does not say anything about did. So that means did has to change into had. So remember, whether it is a negative sentence or it is an affirmative sentence, did has to change into had. It does not say, the rule does not speak anything about did. So John asked his friend if, so obviously this is auxiliary, so if he had. Now here did changes into had and you has changed into the subject. Subject comes first and verb comes afterwards. So if he had not gone, so obviously go changes into gone to his office that day. Today changes into that day. And your again according to change of pronoun. Next, the lady said to us, did you attend the party yesterday? So the lady asked us if we had attended the party the previous day. So did changes into had. Now more examples. My mother said to her, "Does your child make faces at you?" So my mother asked her if her child made faces at her. So you can see that this does has not changed into anything. Now the doctor said to me, "Did you sleep well last night?" The doctor asked me if I had slept well the previous night. So one thing is that if you are still learning to convert these, then you can underline all the words first which you feel need a change. Like here, said to will change, me will change. So did, you, then, or last night. So these are going to change so that when you are writing the indirect sentence, you don't miss anything. So said to will change into asked. So here me comes, and here if has to come, you will change into I. So did obviously into had. So then had slept because it will go with the tense will change here, and well and last night will change into the previous night. Now next one. Father said to his son, "Do you know we have got another opportunity?" Father asked his son if he knew they had got another opportunity. Now here, from where this had has come. Now this do, it is an affirmative sentence. We are not changing it. We are not using it. So you, it becomes he. No becomes new. And this have here, it changes into had. So father asked his son if he knew they had got another opportunity. Now questions with interrogative. So previous we have done the questions that are starting with auxiliaries, and now with questions starting with interrogatives. She asked me, "Where did you go yesterday?" So she asked me where I had gone the previous day. Next sentence, she said to me, "What is the worth of your gift?" She asked me the worth of my gift. Now this sentence, obviously this is correct. It seems correct. It is grammatically also correct, but we have to go according to the theory. So according to the theory, it means we have to follow the rules. So you will make this sentence like this. She asked me what the worth of my gift was. So the worth, it becomes the subject here. It has to come forward. Was obviously worth of your gift, it will come here, and was obviously it will go after that. So what the worth of my gift was. So you have to write the sentence like this. This is also correct because we speak it. Maybe while speaking we can speak it like this, but when you are solving it in your exams, you have to go by rules. So you will write it like this. Now next, my father said to me, "What have you done with all the money I gave you?" So my father asked me what I had done with all the money he had given me. So here again, you can first underline all the words that you think require a change. So here said to, then have, then here you, then obviously all the money, then here I, and gave, and again last you. So said to change into asked. So what will come like this? The question word is retained. Subject will come forward. You changes into I. It has come here. Have changes into had. Done. So I had done with all the money. It will come here. So I changes into he, and V2. This is V2 gave. It changes into had plus V3. So it becomes the money he had given me. So here we have all the changes. So I hope that this is clear to you. My friend said to me, "Where were you when the robbers came?" My friends asked me where I had been. So word changes into had been and subject comes first. So where I had been when the robbers had come. Again, this is V2. It will change into V3 plus. It will change into had plus V3. So had come. The musician said to me, "Which song will you sing next?" So the musician asked me which song I would sing next. The teacher said to them, "How do you want to do the activity?" So the teacher asked them how they wanted to do the activity. So these are the examples, and I hope that interrogative sentences they are clear to you. Kindly subscribe to my channel if you think this was helpful to you. Also, share this video with your friends because sharing is caring. Give it a thumbs up and support me. Kindly do that. That's all for today. Thank you so much.